Yo, what's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Welcome back to the channel, and I hope you guys enjoyed your weekends. You know what time it is. You saw the thumbnail. You read the title. It's the 10-Minute Mailbag, the MLB The Show series where I take your questions from YouTube and Discord, and I stretch them on out into a video. So I only have 2 questions today, actually, and they're kind of similar, but it's worth talking about in totality. So thank you guys for being here for another week. Like and subscribe before you go. Let's get to the questions. 10 minutes on the clock as per the usual. Those are the rules, after all. It's called the 10-Minute Mailbag. And we're just going to hop right on into it. So 3, 2, 1, begin. The first question, and again, there's some overlap here. This is the second week in a row I almost dropped stuff. Sorry, we're starting. Here we go. From Gavin Gilbert. We're already flustered. Kenny, what are some features from previous MLB The Show games that you are hoping return in 25? For me, I want the Jackie year-long evolution program and the all-timers program from 20. I also enjoyed the inclusion of vault packs in 24. I also like vault packs. I could take them or leave them, but I like them. I think they're a nice little touch. I would like maybe to make them more available, but that's a neither here nor there thing. The evolution program, specifically one that is stretched out beyond just like a 2-hour program, I think is something we would all enjoy. When you talk about the power creep, where we start from a lower overall and gradually our overalls get better to the point where the cards that are coming out are in the high 90s, the evolution program makes sense because, you know, I'm on SDS's version of evolution programs from this year, is when they released the Hall of Fame content, and I just chose Todd Helton just because I chose Todd Helton. You were given a 91 overall standout Todd Helton, a 95 overall second half Todd Helton, and then finally a 99 juicy to the gills, underutilized card, if we're being honest, Hall of Fame Todd Helton. So the way this program was constructed, this truncated version of the evolution program, basically you only had to use these cards for about 6 seconds each. You needed, Todd Helton stat missions. You only had to get 8 hits with the standout one, 5 RBIs with the standout one, etc., etc. You can keep, going through this. You didn't even have to use the second half one if you did all the other stuff here. And an optional extreme moment, which somehow, wow, I did this? I don't remember doing this. I did this. Here's the thing. Think about now, over the course of a power creep, a gated time-based evolution program just like this, but you're given 91 Todd Helton closer to the beginning of the year, let's call it sometime in April, and you have these missions, but they're like, get 20 hits, get 20 RBI, get 40 total bases. It forces you, or no, not forces you, but like it gives you the ability to fall in love with a card, fall in love with a swing, fall in love with a player. And then, once you hit those certain benchmarks, you get the better version. And then you strive to complete those missions and those goals. And then it gives you the best version. In a real true power creep, hell, we could start with an 85 Todd Helton, then a 91, then a 95. We could even throw in a 97. Like, we could stretch this out as much as we want, and I think that's fun. I think people like that. And ultimately, it makes the accomplishment of unlocking or receiving that 99 feel like you did something. And I think ultimately that's what this game has missed the last few years, is feeling like we accomplished something. It just feels like we're thrown stuff. And listen, free cards are good, free packs are good. I'm not saying get rid of that, but it is lacking that like accomplishment factor. I don't feel like there's a ton of that because everything is so easy to do. I could just go into the CPU, which is exactly what I did, and bash their brains in for like 45 minutes and complete all of these missions. It doesn't feel like I earned anything. It just feels like I did homework. And homework was a big thing in MLB The Show 23. Maybe it felt a little less that, especially towards the second half of MLB The Show 24, but like that general theory still remains. Other features I hope return, and there's really nothing here that allows me to show you the example of it, but if you're a longtime player of MLB The Show, you know about inning programs and how the game's content used to be structured. maybe it's nostalgia, or maybe it was in fact actually the best way to roll out content, but I miss inning programs. I really liked those. Now it's just, I keep clicking on the wrong thing, sorry. It's just the XP reward path. Like, that's effectively what it is. And now that's in a sets and seasons format. We know sets and seasons are on the curb, kicked to the curb now, so I don't know how things will be structured in that regard. If it's inning programs, that'd be sweet. Big fan of that. I don't know. I enjoyed the structure of it. I enjoyed the bosses, like, at the end. Like, it just all made sense to me. Baseball is played in innings, just in case you weren't aware, so it made sense for that, too. I don't know. What else do you guys miss nostalgia-wise from the old games? I'm very anxious to hear. Ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news. New merch is here! That is right, lads and lassies. If you go to my merch store on Spring, we have brand new back foot slider for the boys merch. It comes in 3 colors as of right now: gray, green, black. You can get hoodies, long sleeve shirts, short sleeve tees, and maybe even more to come in the future. You guys requested this merch. I'm thrilled you guys love the saying that kind of just happened on the channel when we be throwing back foot sliders for the boys all the time. So, 2 things here. You do not have to buy anything. I am thrilled that you guys even come show up to the channel. But if you do buy something, I will be eternally thankful. Make sure you tag me in some way, in the Discord, on Twitter, on YouTube, and I will personally thank you. It means a ton, your support, and Backfoot Slider for the Boys now is just the latest way you can show that support. Plus, a lot of our original channel merch is still here with our kdjTV logo, and even the show, the podcast, apparel, and mugs if you're down to clown. So let me know if you buy anything. Tag me and everything. I love you guys so much. Back to the content. Our second question today. From Kyle. Listen, I struggled saying this last name. It looks like butt cabbage. And I don't think that's what it is. It might be like butt cabbage. Kyle, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your last name. I appreciate you being here. So Kyle J. Jr. For next week's mailbag, you might have answered this, but I'll ask it anyway. You're allowed to do that. It's totally fine. As someone who loved Diamond Dynasty in 15, 16, 17, do you think they will ever get back to the glory days of Diamond Dynasty? So this is like a philosophical question, right? And there's nothing wrong with asking the philosophical question. So it's kind of like that you don't know you were in the good old days until after the good old days. Or at some point you all went outside and played with your friends for the last time and nobody knew. It's such a sad, sad thing to think about, and I hate to like damper the mood a little bit here. But, you know, the glory days might be behind us, and that's not me saying there's a lack of confidence in what's to come. It's just like there are certain points in all of our lives where like a game means something, or anything. It doesn't have to be a game, a movie, a TV show, amusement park you used to go to as like it could be anything. But there's a certain point in all of our lives where those things mean a ton, and then just over time we change, we adapt. That thing changes, that thing adapts, your circle adapts, and the way you look at things is different. So your glory days were 15, 16, 17. That's awesome. My glory days were like 2021. In terms of content, what it meant to me, I tell this story, or I have told this story a lot, but it's fine telling it again. I moved to Maryland from Long Island in late 2019. Knew nobody here, not a single soul on planet Earth. So I started my new job, loved it, doing great. A few months in, pandemic hits. I am shut down in a tiny little apartment, and I didn't know anybody, and all I had to do was watch movies and play video games. And I was always an avid MLB The Show player, but I really dived into it. I bought a podcast microphone to talk to myself, and that's how this whole content journey started. So, like, for me, those are my glory days, and I love that. What would it take for MLB The Show to get back to those type of glory days? I think we're off to a good start in terms of the power creep coming back. I need to see... this is the like debate here. Like, do we want nostalgia to come back? Do we want to just have all the old things we used to love, or do we want innovation? and innovation leads to a new type of glory days. Like, I don't know the line to draw. And it doesn't mean I'll be upset either way. I'm open to having a fun video game. I don't care what it looks like necessarily. I just want it to be fun. For me, a mix of old and new, I think, is the way to go. Like, if you guys saw the podcast episode that I did recently about the Forbes article that came out with all these rumors about MLB The Show 25, calling it like a fan service version of the game, depending on what that looks like, that might be it. I don't think only doing fan service is enough to appease the fan base. Like, there needs to be more. There needs to be innovation. But, like, I don't know. Like, this is such a hard question, and I'm glad you asked it because it's making me think. And I'm going to then spin the question to everybody else. What were your glory days of MLB The Show? Why was that your glory days? And, like, do you see a world in which that comes back? Or what does that world look like? My glory days for, like, everything are just, like, experience-based. Like, where I was during that point in my life, how I felt, and what that particular thing did to me, or did for me. Like, there was a long time, not even a long time ago, it was like 10 years ago, like, me and my brother and my uncle were back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Again. And, like, that was a cool couple-year period of our life. And, like, those could have been the glory days. Or, you know, playing Little League Baseball, probably for all of us, the glory days. You can't get that feeling back. You could try to recreate it somehow, and I hope the people at SDS are figuring out a way to, like, get us all back to the game we enjoy. That's ultimately it. Bring back the enjoyment. The game has definitely felt a little stale. It's lacked a little bit of that luster. It Sets and Seasons was unique, and even though it ultimately failed, it was innovative. If we're going to be honest, it was innovative. It just ultimately didn't hit the community like SDS had hoped. So bring me back a little fan service, maybe. Bring me back a little innovation, maybe. And I'm open for a new Glory Days to start. This was such a hodgepodge of an answer, so I apologize, but I don't plan most of these responses. Like, I read the questions, I screenshot them, and I kind of just go. So, thank you for your question, and that's the answer I've given. Another 10-minute mailbag in the books, and of course, I want to hear your questions. I want to read your questions on the air, so they say, next week. So leave them down below. Leave them in the Discord. We'll have more conversations, and for Shorsky, news is going to start coming soon. This is just a guess, but I would not be stunned if we started to get cover clues this week. Because if the timeline works the way it has worked, I am guessing next Tuesday is a cover reveal. That's how the timeline has worked. It's been oddly quiet, but we might start seeing news this week, and that's when we have stuff to talk about. So ask me questions, and I appreciate it. All right, I love you guys. Have fun with all the reveals coming soon. I'll see you guys next time.